All right, good to go.
Awesome. Well, I want to say thanks to y'all for having me out here tonight, virtually as it were. But I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak to y'all about the campaign. I'm very excited about where the campaign's been going and the potential that we now have for really shaking things up. We often hear the term, well, this is the most important election of our lifetime. I don't know if this is the most important election of our lifetime, but it certainly is the craziest election of our lifetime, I think, with the last couple of weeks, seeing the attempt on Trump's life in Butler, as well as today, Joe Biden announcing that he's stepping down after what could only be kindly described as a bad debate performance. And now we see this potential where voters are just really looking for options out there. They want to see what's going on. And frankly, as a criminal justice reform advocate, I'm extremely excited to be running against the potential of Kamala Harris as the Democratic nominee. I think there's so much there that is just easy for us as libertarians to contrast ourselves with a ticket that is topped by California's former top cop. And if we've seen how California is with their criminal justice system, with the way their government has been run, and her representation as a senator and vice president, leaves much to be desired. So I think we as libertarians can present a great contrast that's going to be a positive, forward-looking message for the voters who are just sick and tired of seeing the Democrats and Republicans continue to spin around in the same bubble burst cycle that they've put forward. So I am really looking forward to where we're going ahead of time. But just to tell you where we just got back from, we just got back recently from Freedom Fest in Las Vegas. It was a great event. We got to meet tons of freedom advocates, activists, folks who are keyed into the free marketplace space, and it was generally a wonderful event to be a part of, and in particular with the free and equal debate, which was great. Myself, Jill Stein of the Green Party, Randall Terry of the Constitution Party went and had a debate. Of course, Robert Kennedy was invited, so was Cornel West. They both did not arrive, though they were in town. They could have. Of course, Robert Kennedy gave a whole speech right before. He could have jumped on the debate stage. When challenged on it, he said, "I don't want to debate friends. I'll be frank with you. I'm sure he's a friendly guy, but he is my competitor. He would be debating his competitors, not his friends. And he needs to recognize that in the game of politics, you got to get out there and debate." Donald Trump and Joe Biden were similarly invited. Neither were in Las Vegas at the time, though Joe Biden went right after, got COVID, and now he's no longer the candidate. But it was a great debate. If you guys haven't seen it, go back and watch it. We talked about COVID lockdowns. We talked about CBDCs, ending the Fed, ending the warfare state, using the free market mechanisms to keep our environment clean as opposed to using the Green New Deal. We talked about ending taxation in our lives. We talked about so many things that are. I just think any libertarian who goes and watches that should feel really happy knowing that we gave a great performance in front of a great audience. And I think we got a wonderful reception after the debate, certainly when we talked to voters. And then we had a nice fireside chat, which I think went really, really well. It was a great chance for us to do some Q&A, just like I'm about to do right now. And if you have a chance to go check out the transcript of that, I think it's on Independent Political Report or something like that. I think that's the website that did a full transcript of that. So if you want to go back and read, I think there's going to be video coming out. And I just want to say I'm very happy with my campaign. I'm very happy with my team. We're working very hard to do the best that we can to spread our message as wide as we can with the resources we have available to us. I do think that we need to see, hopefully as the summer ends and we get into the fall, we're looking forward to starting to tour around colleges as school gets back in session to talk about the anti-war nature of our ticket and of our party, to try to draw out these new voters and let them know that they don't have to pick warmongers on the ticket. They don't have to pick the lesser of all the warmongers out there. There's actually a peace candidate on the ballot for them. And I'm really just excited about what we can do and with the potential with what we can do as we move forward in this process. And I'm damn proud of my running mate, Mike Termont. I said during our fireside chat that it's great that we provide such great contrast to each other. I'm under 40. Mike is not. I'm an activist in the streets who puts a bullhorn in his hand and goes out and has literally stood face to face with riot police as I fight for justice reform or immigrants' rights or to oppose lockdowns. Whereas Mike is a former law enforcement officer. And so now we can naturally take our criminal justice reform platform, for instance, which there's no daylight between me and Mike, but we can go speak that to two very different audiences. If I was to walk into a police foundation and try to speak our criminal justice reform message, they would write me off as, who's this young person who's an activist? We don't have to listen to him. But Mike Tremont can say, you know what? I actually did this job for 10 years. And I recognize that ending qualified immunity, mandating body cams, having liability insurance as a free market mechanism to keep bad cops off the streets not only makes your job better for your community, but actually makes your job better as a law enforcement officer. And if Mike, for instance, was to walk into a room full of activists who have been out in the streets with the bullhorn in their hand, they might say, who's this ex-cop that we shouldn't have to listen to? But I can go and deliver that exact same message to that room. So I think we have a wonderful contrast to each other, as well as both being very bold, principled libertarians who are ready to put our message forward in a way that hopefully will bring out new voters, new members, and grow ourselves. But that's enough of my stump speech. Lastly, I encourage you to go to votechaseoliver.com, join the campaign as a donor or a volunteer. I can't wait to get out in y'all's neck of the woods and tour the state and do what we can to spread the message of liberty up there in Virginia. So I'm excited. I hope y'all are excited for it as well. And I look forward to taking any questions y'all might have.
Anyone have any questions for Chase?
Don't all rush to the microphone at once.
Okay. Hey, I've got a question. How we stand with being on the ballots in the states? Where, how many states are we good on?
Well, what I can tell you is we're looking to be on the ballot for sure in 48 states is what we're aiming for, because there are 2 states where we have basically been knocked off as candidates on the ballot. We are going to be certified writing candidates in both those states. That would be New York and Illinois. Currently, we're on the ballot, I think, we're certified and ready to go in 38 or 39 states, and we're doing the remaining ballot access drives to get on those remaining ballots. I think the closest to y'all would be either Pennsylvania or Kentucky. I'm not sure which is actually closest to y'all in terms of drive time. Might be different depending on where you are in the state. But those are probably the 2 closest places where you guys could travel to and help with the ballot access drive. I know Alabama's working hard.
Chase, we're still petitioning too.
And y'all as well. Well, okay. Yeah. So when is y'all's deadline? I don't have it right here in front of me. I have
August 23rd.
So, and I'm not exactly sure, because I don't have it right in front of me, where we're at in terms of ballot access to Virginia. I thought we had that sewn up. I might be wrong. How far away are we from getting what we need?
That's a complicated question. I think gross signatures, we have about 6,000 that I know of, that I have in my possession or have been turned in. Northern Virginia has been working on collecting signatures. I don't know where they're at. I have not gotten an update from the chair up there. The complicated thing is we need 200 signatures, valid signatures per congressional district. So we're good in a number of the districts, but there are some that we don't even have that 200 yet.
So is the number that we're trying to reach both the 6, so what is the number we need to reach gross?
We need 5,000 valid signatures.
Okay, and right now we're at 6,000. We need to get a few more to pad that out, of course. And so the main challenge we're looking at right now is finding these congressional districts and getting 200 in each district. And let me see, Virginia has how many congressional districts?
11.
11. So what we need is 11 folks to get out to the local, so the easiest way to get signatures, I'm going to tell you guys, is somebody who's gone out and petitioned for signatures. Best places to do this: post office, libraries, and Walmarts. Post office and libraries, because people are already going there and they're expecting to fill out forms anyways. Like, that's just part of the job of going to a post office most of the time, is you're going to stand in line, you're going to fill out forms. It's very easy to catch people. If you see people, one of the easiest ways to get a petition signature is if you see someone bringing a whole lot of packages and they're kind of struggling, offer to help them carry stuff in and say, hey, when you're done with your business in there, I'd really love for you if you could sign my petition out here. Every time I've done that, I've always gotten at least one signature, if not a few more, because people see me helping somebody. But post office, libraries, and then Walmarts, I think, are always great because they're a very high traffic place, and they're ubiquitous throughout the South. I imagine there's about 15,000 Walmarts in the state of Virginia. But that's what I would encourage folks to do. So Virginia being one of the ones we still have left. Like I said, I thought we had the number because someone had told me that I think Virginia was good to go. But if we need to get 200 per congressional district, I think the best way to organize that would be to, of course, if we have a candidate in each congressional district, try to get them out to do that because it raises candidate awareness as well. If you're a candidate for Congress, collecting signatures is a great way to meet members of your constituency. To say, hey, I'm out here collecting petition signatures because I want to make sure you have more choice on the ballot. By the way, I'm also running for Congress and seeking ballot. I assume, is it like Pennsylvania where you're also getting ballot access for whatever candidates are in your area, or do you guys already have automatic congressional ballot access?
Right now, it's pretty much you guys. That's it.
Okay, so getting on the ballot for Congress is difficult, just like in the state of Georgia. Because I'll tell you right now, that's our biggest challenge in the state of Georgia is we have statewide ballot access, so we get to run all the top of the ticket races, but it's near impossible for us to run for Congress or for State House. So, for instance, we had we had somebody sue actually in federal court to lower our number because right now to run for Congress, you have to get in Georgia 5% of all the registered voters in your district, and so roughly speaking, that's like around 30,000 signatures that you need to have. And, of course, you have to have more than that to make sure that you get the number of valid signatures you need. And we had somebody go to court with that, and it got flipped from 5% to 1%, which was awesome. And as soon as that happened, we had a candidate in every congressional district who was like, hey, that's doable. I'm going to get the numbers we need to run. And then on appeal, the appeals court flipped it back to 5%, and every candidate in Georgia quit except for one. It's my friend Angela Pence, who really wanted to run against Marjorie Taylor Greene. And at 8 months pregnant, she marched door to door and got 4,000 signatures. But of course, not enough to get on the ballot. So I feel your pain there, and I wish it were easier. Do we need to hit? I know I love that I'm asking you guys questions because to be, lastly, do we need to hit a certain number for you guys to maintain ballot access, the presidential candidate? Or do you have other statewide candidates who can hit that number and maintain ballot access?
In order for us to have ballot access, it requires 10% of the vote in a statewide election.
Well, that's
So
totally doable.
We've never actually had ballot access.
Yeah, that's a really tough hill to climb. In Georgia, to get automatic party status, for us to truly be a political party, not a political body, we have to get 20% of the vote. 20% of the vote gets us access to the primary ballot and other things. Anything else, we're just considered a political club. So that being said, I think that if you guys have the deadline in about 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks, about a month, we're at the 21st, you have a month to do it. I think if you're currently at 6,000, getting the number of gross that we need is totally doable. It just requires a little bit of organization to get those 200 you need per congressional district. I'm going to take that feedback back to my team because if I need to hop out into a congressional district or two and help you guys get some signatures, I'm ready to do it. I've done it a million times. So, and I know Mike lives out in that neck of the woods. I mean, literally out in that neck of the woods, is in like the middle of nowhere. I think his closest airport's over an hour away from him. God bless him. I wish I had that peace and serenity. I'll tell you right now, when I hear that Atlanta traffic, sometimes I wish I lived in the middle of nowhere. God bless him and Nancy both. Now, that being said, I recognize the ballot access challenges. I just was not aware that Virginia was still one that needed that help. I had been told by somebody, I think, that we were good to go there. But if we're not, the campaign shall now readjust and focus on that. Muted.
I appreciate that. Yeah, we're good in a number of congressional districts. It's really Northern Virginia and then the western part of the state that still needs some help.
Madam Chair, may I be recognized to ask a question to Chase?
Sure.
Maybe,
Go right
but you're
ahead.
muted.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. Hi, Chase.
Hello.
Robbie Pinkerton, not officially on the SCC, but Secretary for Congressional District 4 and for the Libertarian Party of Central Virginia. I had a question in regards to your campaign team, and apologies if it's a little long. It does require just a smidge of background, because I don't know if you're aware of all the circumstances. In September of 2022, 7 individuals did incredible damage to the Virginia LP by fraudulently attempting to dissolve the organization, and then immediately afterwards forming a rival political party here in Virginia. Those individuals cost the Virginia LP thousands of dollars in resources and legal fees, as well as several of the social media accounts were compromised. Several of these individuals have been seen working specifically like at your table at the national convention, as well as other places on the campaign. My question is, what are you doing to ensure that the Chase Oliver campaign is not supporting these individuals or their rival political party?
So first off, anybody who works for me is supporting me. I'm not supporting them. That's why people come to volunteer for me. Volunteering for me does not necessarily mean I agree with every single political view you have. I have over 1,000 volunteers. I can assure you my paid staff are committed to making sure that this campaign works great, that we put out principled libertarian messaging. But one of the things that I've always tried to do as a candidate is accept anybody who wants to come in and do work, regardless of the caucus they roll with, regardless of the party they roll with, regardless of the wing of libertarianism to which they come into this party. I'm going to continue to make that practice. As far as, information and sensitive information, data, things like these, those are in the hands of paid staff, all of whom who are ironclad by paperwork and contract to do the right thing. So I have no worries that anybody who is committing, donating their time or their effort to this campaign will ever have that taken from them. But with regards to volunteers, I can't control every single person who wants to volunteer for this campaign. I do not personally, take the time to vet all 1,000 plus people who have signed up. I understand that there's going to be disagreements between people. I understand there are deep divisions within our party that I've always tried to heal by just leading by example, saying that if you come here to work, you come here to work. And that is what I have been trying to do. So if I can continue that process of trying to be a conciliator, somebody who tries to bring people together, that's what I'm going to do. But I don't know the exact specifics of who we're talking about, what happened there. And I recognize that, yes, there was the dissolution of the party, but I try to stay away from specifics of what state parties are doing outside of course, my home state of Georgia. I need to be focused on my race and not on internal fighting. I think that's more productive to do. I do see some other hands popped up, so I'm ready to take those questions. But I do hope with all sincerity that you guys understand that I want to grow the Libertarian Party of Virginia. I am a libertarian. I am not a part of any other party. If there's other political parties that don't have a presidential candidate, they decide they want to volunteer, they like me, and they want to support me, well, good. That's more votes for the Libertarian Party and more votes and notice for the Libertarian Party. And hey, if they're going to volunteer, good. More of that for the Libertarian Party. And maybe this is the process of being people who have been hurt in the past or who had disagreements in the past on either side of this disagreement that we've had as a party and bring them back together into the process. If we can do that, we can grow together stronger and more unified. And if I can help facilitate that, I think it's a good thing. Who had their hand up next? I think is yes.
All right, there we go. Unmute. Turns out with Zoho, you can move the little bar every time you click on something there. So yeah, I'm CD10's representative here. Just want to say thank you for joining us tonight. I know you got a busy schedule ahead of you. As a small aside, because Robbie brought it up, I do have to clarify that the Libertarian Party of Virginia was in fact not dissolved, and that the further ejection of those folks from the LPVA was a unanimous vote across all factions, caucuses, and whatever. So we're a very unified group here that tends to try to be focused on Virginia, as I think a lot of LP is with regards to localism. But my question is more around, even before today, this was a pretty non-standard election cycle, I would say. I got a little bit more chaotic today. from your perspective, like in terms of how we can partner as a state party, like what are your metrics? Like, what do you see as, if we come out of this campaign, like what do you see as like, hey, we can declare a success? Like, what are the campaign's goals with regards to like KPIs or like anything along those lines? Like, what are our targetable, tangible things that we should be looking at, considering how unusual this whole, I don't know, the world is at the moment?
Yeah, so I always tell people, of course, the greatest metric of victory would be winning the thing, right? But I don't know if we live in that multiverse. Maybe we do. The crazier things have happened already in this election cycle. Didn't think somebody would be taking a pot shot at Donald Trump. So, but the other things we want to look at is how can we consider this a success beyond winning? What are the other areas where we can have wins? I think it's in terms of ballot access, how many states this ticket can win ballot access in states where it's required of us, to make sure that we can continue to run libertarian candidates in states all across the country. It's what states can we win major party status with the help of our ticket to help get the vote totals we need, because major party status gets you access to things like the primary ballot, increased media attention, debate invitations for candidates up and down the ticket. And that's a great way to increase our reach with the average voter. Of course, finding and helping local electable libertarians winning their races so we can increase our number of elected libertarians across the country. It's why I've started to endorse a slew of libertarian candidates both before the nomination and post-nomination, especially those who are running in two-way races or nonpartisan races where we feel like it's easier to attain victory and really put our resources into those races. And then lastly, upping our membership numbers. We want to bring in a bunch of new people, new voters who are excited about the message of libertarianism, particularly younger voters who haven't felt like they have a choice for them yet. And this would be great for us to reach out to the new anti-war movement that's growing on campuses all over the country, as well as in TikTok, chat rooms, basically everywhere where young people congregate. We're starting to see an anti-war sentiment, and I think we need to remind them that the Libertarian Party, since our founding, has been a true non-interventionist anti-war party, responding to Vietnam and beyond. So I think there's great potential for growth there amongst younger voters. I think there's great, in particular, because we did some polling on our social media, which got over 2,000 respondents, asking people, at what age did you start calling yourself a libertarian? The largest pool of those voters said between the ages of 18 and 30. The second largest pool of voters was under 18, and it represented a majority of the votes. And so I want to reach out to younger voters because I want to build our party foundation up, not just for the next election cycle, but for the next 10 years. And if we start grabbing them now when they're young, angry activists who are ready to, to see liberty in their lifetime, ready to see wars and ready to have more control over their life, what they will grow into over the next 10 or 20 years is donors, is people who are going to be part of party membership, people who are going to be knocking on doors, running as candidates, and of course, running for state XComs all over the country to do the business of the party. And so this is about foundationally building our party up so that way over the next 20 years, when Gen Z and millennials become the plurality or the majority of voters, we actually have a field to play on and we can actually build ourselves up. And I think that's one of the great things about this campaign, being the age of 38, almost 39, about as young as you can be running for president and still reaching out to these voters of that generation. So those are my metrics: membership, elected libertarians, ballot access, major party status, and then the key demographic we're reaching out to is, in addition to the standard libertarian demographics, is in particular we're focusing on younger voters. But thank you for the question.
All right, Maria, you had a question?
Yep, I do. Can you guys all hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
Perfect. I was hoping that Mike would be here because this is more a question for him, but I will pass it along to you in the meantime. So obviously for libertarians, criminal justice reform and qualified immunity are really important topics, as they are for the general public more and more these days. And after convention, it came to light that while Mike was an officer in Florida, he was unfortunately involved in an incident that resulted in a decision on summary judgment that he violated a man's Fourth Amendment rights against unreasonable search and seizure. And the city attorney, of course, argued that he should be entitled to qualified immunity, which the judge denied. And, all that being said, I think it put volunteers in a very tough spot to reconcile this with potential voters, especially those who are very passionate about this issue. So my question for you and him is, what can the message be to potential donors and volunteers to tackle this topic, given the hot button nature and, the decision against him in a very decisive manner?
Yeah, so I would let Mike speak to the specifics of that. I think what has been, I can't speak for him, but I think what has been said and reported is kind of kind of skewing things a little bit out of what is exactly happening. But he can speak to that. In fact, I believe he has on previous occasions. But I will let him handle that individual case. What I can say is I've been a criminal justice reform advocate for over a decade. I've been somebody who has been, really almost 2 decades. Really, since I've got started in politics, I've been somebody who's been suspicious of police. I've been tear gassed by riot police, fighting for criminal justice reform. Like, I've been in the streets organizing to end qualified immunity, to put body cams on police. I'm part of the Stop Cop City movement in Atlanta. And so what I would urge folks who are thinking about is this campaign going to be soft on criminal justice reform? Absolutely not. In fact, and I think when you look at the policies that me and Mike both support, there, like I said, there's not much daylight between us. And I think Mike is going to have to answer any questions about the time he served as a police officer, but I can certainly answer that as my time as an advocate and activist in the streets. I'm somebody who's always believed in holding police accountable, making sure that no government official, including police officers who carry the badge, the monopoly of force and violence of government on their chest, suffer or are above the law. I do believe that when actions are taken against citizens, they do believe, I believe in both civil and criminal justice and recompense. And I do think that there are systemic issues that have been wronging police for a long time that we can address as libertarians that involve, again, things like requiring officers to hold liability insurance, because that way when they do something wrong, and if there is a if there's a wrong done, there's a judgment against them for that, it doesn't come out of the city's budget for other things. It comes out of that insurance policy. And if you commit too many wrongs, you become uninsurable. And so it's a free market way to make sure that bad police stay off the streets. And of course, if you do a good job, if you're protecting the public and you're protecting people's civil rights and you're not engaging in bad behavior, your insurance rate will actually lower. And that is an incentive for you to do a better job. And that's an incentive for police to pay you better, because you're costing the police department less in insurance costs. And they can pass that on to you as a bonus for being a good officer. And so I think there are great ways that we can actually address criminal justice reform, in addition to addressing the overcriminalization of our society. So much of what police do wrong is because we police too many things. We have police going after too many things. We have them investigating too many so-called crimes that aren't really crimes at all. The drug war being the biggest example, consensual sex work being another. And so I think we can address both these systemic wrongs with policing and also the systemic wrongs of the criminal justice issue on behalf of overcriminalization, and say there would be less reason for cops to even have a potential to do wrong if we didn't criminalize so much of what society does as peaceful adults. And I'm certainly somebody who can argue that all day long, certainly twice on Sunday, including this Sunday. But I believe that Mike, we had a long talk about criminal justice reform. And I can tell you from that conversation, he's solidly behind my platform. And he'll have to address those questions at another time. I just can't, because I don't know the particulars. And it would be unfair for me to do that.
No,
Yeah,
I appreciate that. And I hope that we get an opportunity to address that with him, because I think it's something that needs to be addressed. And, speaking personally as an attorney, there might be, in his perspective, there might be facts in dispute, but the fact that it went to summary judgment means that there were no facts in dispute. It was just a legal determination. So I know you're not the right person to answer that. So I hope that we'll get an opportunity to ask him that at some point, because I think it does put volunteers in a really hard position, in terms of a credibility standpoint, when we try to say the Libertarian Party really cares about criminal justice reform, when you have someone that unfortunately has this, in his past.
Thank you for the question.
Mike unfortunately did not text me back, so
Yeah, I hadn't heard back from my team, so that's neither here nor there. I apologize for that. And again, I apologize for the brevity of this meeting. It said it was scheduled for 3 hours. I didn't think you guys wanted to blab on for 3 hours, but I am going to be, just to plug myself again, I'm going to be going to live a little bit after, right at 9 o'clock on TikTok. And then at 9:30, I'm joining the TikTok town hall, which will have usually a really good crowd of people across the political spectrum. I'd love if libertarians could join me and put some libertarian content in the comments to kind of wake up some younger TikTokers out there to the ideas of liberty, because I can talk all day, but it really helps if we have comment support. But who's got the next question? I
Lord.
saw it. Yep.
Madam Chair, maybe you recognize. I'm Lawrence Millen. I'm Chair of CD2. Chase, where does the right to self-defense end?
At the end of the barrel of my gun, that's where it ends. It's an absolute right. You absolutely have the right to defend yourself from any harm that's done to you, your property, or your family. And I'm somebody who's going to defend those rights wholeheartedly. And for me, the right of self-defense, you have the right to defend yourself from aggression, and up into including protecting your own life if you need to. I'm somebody who absolutely believes in that. I believed in that since I worked in a bar where I used to have to leave at 2:30 in the morning with a pocket full of tips and have to walk 5 or 6 blocks through Atlanta to get to my parked car. I'm very glad that I had a revolver in my pocket the entire time when I walked home. Never had to use it, but thank God I had one in case I needed to, because I've had friends who have been robbed and been mugged walking back to their cars in that industry. And so from a very young age, I've been somebody who's been comfortable with the right of self-defense.
Having said that, where does a nation's right to self-defense end?
Yeah, at our borders. Yeah.
And will we support other nations in defending themselves?
Yeah, so I support our nation defending ourselves from sovereign invasion. That is the purpose of our military, is to defend ourselves and the liberty of Americans and American citizens. I recognize there's evil done in the world. It is not our job to fight all evil done in the world. In fact, when we do that and when we put the mantle of the world's police on ourselves, that's when we create things like the worldwide war on terror that has created blowback, that has created hostility, that has created so many innocent victims of our drone bombing policy. And so I support the right of our nation to defend ourselves. I support the right of our military to be strong enough to repel any invasion from any armed force around the world. And in saying that, I recognize that we could cut our military in half and still be ready enough to do that. And so I support having a strong military that can defend us from invasion, but not one that's going to be fighting wars around the world, certainly not at the expense of the U.S. taxpayer. I just think that is the wrong kind of foreign policy to have. And I recognize even in the time of World War II, we didn't fight until we were attacked. Granted, that was a war that ended in a huge loss of life, and it was a worldwide war. But of course, we didn't get involved until we were attacked. And I believe that should be the standard of policy of the United States in regards to when we declare war. It should be only in response to any kind of aggression taken against us. The same as I believe for myself. I don't believe in aggressing against people unless I'm aggressed against first. For the question.
Well, I have a question for you, Chase.
Awesome.
Aside from us finishing our petition drive and having you on the ballot, what else can we do for you throughout the rest of the campaign season?
Well, one of the things that I'm encouraging people to do, especially if there are local candidates as well that want to run in the area, is to host a house party. Open up your home to your friends and neighbors, because when you do that, you create a level of trust with the candidate that they just don't get from door knocking. When you invite your neighborhood into your home to say, hey, we're going to grill out some hot dogs and some hamburgers and some potato salad, and we got a cooler full of Cokes and beers for everybody to enjoy. Come on out to our house. And oh, by the way, my friend who's running for city council or running for Congress or running for president is going to be there. It would be great to hear from you. Really, when you establish that kind of trust, you're going to create a whole bunch of potential new donors, a whole bunch of potential new voters, and 10 or 15 new yards that we can throw yard signs into. And so on the individual level, that's something great that folks can do, is help to organize that. And if the campaign, me as the candidate or Mike as the candidate, can't be there, we can certainly send campaign representatives who are volunteers who can talk about what the campaign's doing, distribute that literature, and get things going that way. Though, of course, Mike living in Virginia, it might be easy for him to get out there and do those events a little bit easier in your neck of the woods, just as Georgia or Tennessee might be easier for me to reach out to.
Did we lose him, or is it just my audio?
I don't know. He looks frozen to me.
Frozen on my end also.
Well,
He comes back, Maria can ask her a question.
I was just coming in with a party invitation for our 50th.
Oh, that's a bummer.
We'll get out the email soon.
All right. Well, I'm guessing at this point no one else is going to join us. We're Robbie, do you have the ability to automatically serve as CD chair in a meeting?
I do not, unfortunately.
Since Brooks is not here.
Good.
Do we not have quorum?
Be elected vice chair at a special convention, which should hopefully happen soon, then yes. But as secretary, no.
No, we have quorum. I just figured since you were here and he wasn't.
Yeah, did he proxy you by chance? Yeah, whatever.
Hey Jen, Charlie is right here if you need him to proxy.
We technically have to have permission from the CD chair.
Oh, okay.
So
Then no, you can't proxy. Charlie.
I arranged that last time since I knew he was going to be there.
I appreciate the admonishment in that, like, you cannot proxy. Sorry, Charlie. Oh,
Can y'all see me?
He's back. He's back. Yeah.
I'm going to blame the feds. They're trying to stop me from talking to y'all. Well, what were we talking about before my entire internet just decided to crap the bed?
We were talking about what we can do for the campaign in Virginia.
Yeah, so I was mentioning the house party aspect of things. The other thing I was mentioning, of course, right as the internet crashed, was we're starting to utilize technology to help the campaign out. One of the things we want to start doing is geofencing likely events that libertarians might want to show up to, things like gun shows or other such events, and then start being able to use OTT advertising to directly message to those populations. And so we did this actually in Virginia, and we actually had a couple people who all of a sudden noticed my commercial was on their Hulu. How did that happen? Well, it's because we invested a little bit of money because we geofenced Libertarian Party of Virginia convention, and we spent, a fraction amount of money just during the primary to see, hey, will this respond? And we got 2 delegates responding back saying, hey, I was at the convention. Now I just saw your ad. How did that happen? Please speak louder. Sorry about that. Can you all hear me now? Mic quality went down. Anyway, so in addition, so of course, become a donor supporter. If you can help this campaign out, one of the things we're trying to do is utilize our resources to the maximum efficiency. I'm well practiced at that. When I ran for U.S. Senate, my opponent spent a combined $250 million on the race. So their cost per vote was between $20 and $25 per vote. I spent just over $20,000 in that race. So my cost per vote was about 24 cents per vote. And it's because we know how to utilize resources in a very, very scrappy way and what I call punching above our weight. So, of course, becoming a donor supporter is a great way to help us out in the state of Virginia. And then, of course, if you know any events to which you would want to be tabling at or something like that, we would love to have your support there. We can send you guys or give you guys the ability to print out resources to be able to table with. So you can help spread the message that way. If you're already going to be tabling at, say, a gun show or a festival or, an art festival or something to that effect, we can make sure that you have connections to resources so that way you guys can represent the campaign. And of course, be a volunteer. Grow that number of 1,000 people. Become somebody else who can join our team on Slack. We have a great environment there, a very positive work environment that is focused on building this campaign up. I encourage you to get involved there and join the campaign. We'd love to have you. It doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter what caucus you roll with or where you came to the party from. If you're ready to work, if you're ready to push a positive message forward that hopefully voters can appreciate and bring in, and we can bring new voters into the tent, and you really want to fight for liberty, that's all I ask of you. So, there's some great ways to help. But yeah, once we get into town, we're also going to hopefully do a great fundraiser or some sort of event out in Virginia. We'd love to have you guys out there.
Well, thank you. And I believe Maria had something she wanted to say.
I did. This is much less of a controversial thing. So LPVA is turning 50 this year, and we are in the midst of planning our 50th anniversary party, and it's going to be Saturday, October 19th. So informal invitations will be forthcoming, but if you or someone from your campaign could be there, we'd love to give you the opportunity to speak to folks and celebrate with us.
I can make sure we have definitely somebody from the campaign out there. But if you want to email that information to info@votechaseoliver.com, that goes to my campaign manager, Steve, as well as a couple of the higher ups in the campaign staff. We can make sure that we can put that on our horizons for what we're looking at to do throughout the campaign. Certainly October is going to be a very busy month, but we'd love to if we can get out to Virginia. Hey, I'm all for that. Sounds like a good party, and I'm always happy to speak to libertarians and hopefully raise some money for both the campaign and your state party, supporting the candidates you got out there. So if I can't be there in person, we'll make sure somebody from the campaign can be there. But if we can make that happen, go ahead and if you can send that information along now, it makes it more likely because we start trying to plan out at least 7 or 8 weeks ahead of time. So right now we're almost through August of what we're planning to do. We're a little behind here trying to get through September now. Labor Day is going to be crazy because in addition to campaigning all Labor Day weekend, I've also been requested that I celebrate my mom's 70th birthday by going to the University of Tennessee game with her. And she told me if I didn't, I'd be cut out of the will. She said, I don't care if you're running for president. I only turned 70 once. So come with your orange gear on. So I'm going to be probably in and around Knoxville on that day. But hey, I think I can make it up to Virginia on the 19th. I don't know. I can't make any promises, though. I don't control my own calendar anymore. That's somebody else's job. I just go where they tell me, and I speak when they tell me to speak.
Understandable. We'll get that info over to your campaign.
Thank you so much.
Go ahead, Lawrence.
Considering it's in Mike's backyard, he better show up.
Noted. Noted. This message is to Mike and Nancy Termont. It's in your backyard. Show up. Unless we have Mike, unless we've sent Mike out to some remote area to do vice presidential stuff, unless the campaign has decided to send him to the Tetons or out in the wilderness, Alaska, or, out in the middle of a desert somewhere. No, I'm just kidding. We love to send Mike to great places. He actually just got done doing ballot petitioning in Pennsylvania. He got to do a county fair. I'm actually kind of jealous of the amount of fried food he got to eat.
His wife might not like that.
I bet
Nobody
Pennsylvania has
tell
some good
Nancy.
fried food.
Nobody tell Nancy.
All right. Anyone else have any questions for Chase?
I just want to say thank you for your hard work.
And thank you guys for doing the work of your party. I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing if we didn't have libertarian affiliates all over the country. And that is, it means a lot to me when people actually join their state's XCOM, when they actually do the business. I've sat on my state's XCOM. I've been an affiliate chair and vice chair. I've done a lot of those kinds of jobs. And I recognize they're very thankless. And I'm in a very visible position where people say thank you to me all the time. So I appreciate you saying thank you to me, but I'm going to say thank you right back to all of you fine folks doing the work of your party and doing the business that you need to do to try to help spread liberty in your state. Because, Lord knows there would be no need for a libertarian presidential candidate if we didn't have a libertarian party.
Right. Well, I guess we can start our official business portion of this meeting. Chase, I know you have to go soon, but
yeah, well, I'll pop out and let you guys get to the official business at hand, all the exciting work of platforming and, bylawing and resolutioning and all the good work. And I hope you guys have a great legislative agenda to help respond to what's going on in your state house. I hope you have somebody who's keeping an eye on your governor and keeping an eye on your state leadership so that you can hold them accountable. I think one of the best things libertarians can do to shift the Overton window towards liberty is being in the room. So that's my advice to give to Libertarian Party of Virginia. Some private number is calling me. We're going to X out of there. But one of the things I would love to tell you guys, Libertarian Party of Virginia, is please get involved in your legislative process. Be in the room when they're discussing stuff. Speak out in public commentary and speak as an official from the Libertarian Party of Virginia. One of the best ways you can get new members in the room is to speak for or against legislation that's either for or against liberty. And you go out in there and you speak this message and you say, I'm with the Libertarian Party of Virginia. And if anybody agrees with what I'm saying right here, I'll be in the back of the room. I'd love to talk to you about the next time we're going to be having a meeting. We'd love to have you, because that will get you a few people at at each major meeting, and that will form those single issue coalitions that will bring new membership in. So please, please, please have an awesome meeting, do some great work. And if I can inspire you to do anything, it's pay attention to what's going on in your state house. Find those areas where you can do public commentary or where you can get involved in a committee hearing and make your voice be heard. Fight for those issues that matter, especially things like defend the guard in the state of Virginia. We need to be leading on those issues, and as libertarians we can. But I'm going to say thank you guys for having me, and I'm going to sign off with the same way that I do anytime I have a meeting, which is I wish you guys a life of peace, love, and liberty.
Thank you, Chase.
Thank
Great night.
you.
Alrighty. So I never did do a time to start. I guess official business is starting at 8:51 p.m. But let's do a quick roll call. So CD1.
Present.
CD2.
Present.
CD3.
Here.
CD4, I did not see. CD5, I do not see. CD6.
Here.
CD7.
Present.
CD8, I did not see Logan. CD9, I don't see Dean either. CD10.
Here.
All right, CD11, I did not see. Madam Secretary.
I'm here.
For our treasurer, we have Maria serving as proxy.
For Dan John.
And Mr. Vice Chair.
Present.
And I am here. All right, so Tina sent out the agenda. Anyone have anything they want to add to the agenda? Any questions? Yes, James?
Nope, that was just during my report. I misclicked. Sorry.
Okay. All right, could I get a motion to adopt the agenda, please?
This is Vice Chair, so moved.
Seconds if that's required.
Did somebody second? Okay.
CD3 seconded it.
All right. Thank you, James. All right. Anyone opposed? All right. Agenda is approved. Minutes from the last meeting. Did everyone see the minutes? No. Okay. So I think, Tina, unfortunately, I think you sent an email but didn't attach them. So we can approve those at the next meeting. All right. So
Sorry about that.
what was that?
I said sorry about that. I thought it was in there.
Okay. All right. So for my report, first thing I wanted to tell everyone, I attended the VICFA meeting at the beginning of the month. Felt like a little bit of a rock star. I introduced myself and everyone was like, oh, wow, the Libertarian Party's here. But I had a lot of fun, met a lot of new people. They are working to introduce both legislation for next year as well as a possible amendment to the state's constitution. So I'm going to try and work with them on that and possibly to get that information to other states as well and see if we can maybe make this a 50-state food freedom constitutional amendment. And that is in addition to an amendment that Thomas Massey has proposed as well for Congress to consider. So more on that to come. The other thing I wanted to let everyone know about was the Kennedy Victory Fund that I'm sure many of you have seen. If you have not, the LNC has partnered with the Kennedy campaign to have a way for Kennedy to fundraise extra money. From my understanding, an individual can only contribute $6,600 to a presidential campaign in a single year. So this allows people to donate up to another $41,300 through the fund. And the LNC is going to be taking, I think, 10% of that. So if someone donates, $10,000, we get 1,000 of that. That's my understanding. Is that correct from what other people have read? James?
Yeah, so I looked into this a little bit more, just having some concerns. One of the reasons that it's called the joint fundraising effort, as it turns out, is also because of the FCC. So that is how they view it. So that is why it is named as such. So essentially, we are serving as credit card processors for this. So it is not an endorsement. It is not really truly a partnership in that fashion. You photobombed me, and it is. It's basically us leveraging our ability to take donations at a different level because he's not actually part of a party. So because there was some confusion, I think, around particularly the joint fundraising declaration aspect, but that's an FEC thing. So we are basically getting to take a cut of money at a higher percentage than one would normally see from like a PayPal because we have different limits. So these are already his donors, just using us as their donor path. I guess I think it'd be interesting actually to see if the FEC doesn't immediately change their rules to stop this. This could be really interesting for a myriad of independent candidates across the board that are affected by the rules that just benefit the dinosaur parties essentially exclusively.
Lawrence, do you have a question?
So this is basically rent seeking. We're not actually doing any fundraising for him.
Correct.
Thank you. I understand better now.
Yeah, nobody's really used that term yet, but it is the most accurate.
Yeah, and I was contacted by Jason Amatucci, who is the director of Virginia for Kennedy's campaign. I guess he saw the joint or the Kennedy Victory Fund announcement yesterday and said, "Oh, can we do that through Virginia?" So he was going to send everyone through our party so that we could get money out of it. But I told him we don't have that set up. So unfortunately, we are not benefiting from that directly. But Mr. Bracco?
So this is probably a Dan John question, and he's not on, so I'm going to do my best. I believe that the LPVA is set up as a PAC. I'm almost positive that is my mic messed up?
No, I'm sorry. I just had my video on. Please, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Continue.
Sometimes my mic messes up, so I don't know. I believe we have somewhat of a higher limit because we are a federal PAC. I don't know that the federal account has been used all that much, but it could be an option. It's not nearly as high as the LNC's limit. It's like 5,000, I think, which is higher than the Kennedy limit, but it is possible to do it to a small degree, I think, and run everything I just said by Dan when he gets back.
You are correct that this is a Dan John question. I think he's currently feeding a moose, and I am not qualified to answer this, so my sincere apologies.
I did ask Dan hypothetically if it was possible. He said he would research it and get back to me. Because we probably could do it for Chase and for Kennedy. But we need to know if it's legit or not first. Go ahead, Lawrence.
So we have two new recent members who are RFK supporters. Is this something where we would be looking to further this tie-up at the state level? I'm certain that they would be more than interested, but is that something we really want to, is that Pandora's box we want to open?
Which, oh, 2 ex-members, are you saying that are RFK supporters?
No, we recently have 2 members who joined second district who are RFK. They're more left-leaning libertarians who are supporting RFK. We've been trying to do a lot of outreach to the liberal side since most of our members tend to swing more conservative. So we've been trying to balance that out in our outreach, and we've got 2 new ones. One of the guys that we brought on, he was actually up in DC with us. He's actually the director of the RFK campaign for Tidewater. It was Lieutenant Commander Stringfellow. I know a couple of us met him up in DC.
I don't remember.
Okay, he was sitting with Nick and I most of the time.
Okay.
I don't know. That's why I'm asking. This is an open-ended question. I do know there would be interest, but I want to get direction from you as the leader before we open that.
If we would do anything like that, I mean, I would prefer we would do it for Chase
That's what I figured.
first. But it really would just be a way for us to fundraise along with helping third-party candidates also raise money.
Well, I think where I was envisioning this going is the possibility of having joint events.
Possibly.
I think
I
then
could talk to Jason about that.
I think then what I'll do is I'll talk to them, I'll talk to Nick and James and see if we can come up with a way we could work it out and then run it by you first.
That sounds good.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. That's all I really have to report right now. Did anyone else have anything they need to report? I believe CD6 had a convention.
No, I didn't have the login. I made the mistake, I assumed. So what I'm going to do is I was going to get with Jason. I was going to be doing it next month in August. So
Okay.
that's when I'll do the convention, and I'll do it online again, hopefully to get more folks that would be interested in it. So I'll reach out to him, and then that way I can get my email set up and all that good stuff too.
All right.
And then
Thank
if
you.
I'm talking, August 3rd is stepping out in Blacksburg, and I can't get a table because it's political, but we are going to be going up there. Right now I've got about 4 people, and I'm hoping to get more because it gets a lot of people, and that's in the heart of the 9th district. So I'm hoping to get people up there for that event.
Okay, awesome. Jason, did you have a comment on that or something else?
Something else, and James was ahead of me.
Okay, go ahead, James.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, so this is specifically related to CD10, although this will be applicable to the other LP Nova districts as well. So we've got the Loudoun County Fair coming up. Will Ogle is helping to quarterback volunteers for that. We're going to be table sitting, looking for volunteers, both to sign up new party members, obviously to get signature registrations for the presidential campaign. So that's coming up July 23rd through 27th. He's running those volunteer signups through, crap, I'm brain farting on the name, but
The Sign Up Genius.
thank you, Sign Up Genius. So looking for volunteer slots for that. And there's another county fair that's, I believe, CD9s as well. So what was that?
It's closer to DC. I think it's
Yeah, just trying to give me an assist from the back there. But yeah, there's some county fairs coming up. Check with your CDs, and we're definitely looking for volunteers to help get campaign signatures.
Just so you know, and you can check with Dave Krantz, see if he's aware. Right now on Mike's calendar, he is slated to be at Loudoun County Fair on the 26th and 27th.
Great, thanks.
You're welcome. Jason?
Yeah, just want to kind of give a formal heads up to everyone that I'm going to be taking everyone's personal emails off of the Google groups, and we're going to be transitioning that exclusively over to the Zoho emails pretty much by the end of this SCC meeting tonight. So going forward, everything is going to be done on Zoho. No more personal emails. I will send one last one out, just kind of reminding everybody of this, but it's otherwise, so far there's only been like 4 people that have signed up for their username and passwords out of 15. So FYI, that's all.
Jason, have we figured out how we can forward it to the current SCC list yet?
That I think is pretty much still going to be one of those, as a business practice, we need to make sure that we CC the email address associated with the LPVA Google groups. But otherwise, no, like there's no auto mail forwarding option that'll let us send it directly over to Google. I was actually on the phone with the Zoho folks for longer than I had anticipated being on the phone with them to try and come up with a solution for that.
I was able to join the group with my email, but I can't post to it with my Zoho email. So
Correct. And that's going to be kind of I guess, the difference, because there are some people who don't have Gmail accounts. And so, like, they've technically, I don't think that they've ever been able to post from the Google group directly. They just wind up emailing the LPVA Google group's email address. So like people with like a Yahoo domain or like a Proton Mail or, Outlook, whatever, something other than Gmail, you have to have a Gmail account to be logged into that to be able to post directly, start a new conversation or whatever. So for some people, technically none of this is going to change because they don't have a Gmail account. But for those of us who are running Gmail accounts and are logged in as, whatever, our personal accounts, it'll be a little bit different of a process for us. And I can set up a more formal walkthrough of the Zoho platform, in the evening sometime. We probably do like another 8 o'clock in like a week or 2 or something like that. So just get with me about your username and passwords, and we'll get that rolling. But again, I just want to let people know that conversations and contact information, communication in general is going to appear to be cut off, but it's just going to be moving over to Zoho. Over.
thank you, Mr. Bruce. Anyone else have a report for their CD? Hearing none. Could we get a report on the 50th anniversary celebration? Oh, Lawrence, did you have something?
Just a quick update. For CD2, we are going to be moving our meetings from Sunday evening to Saturday evening. We had feedback from a number of politicians that it was very difficult to attend Sunday evening meetings. But even the meeting that we had on Father's Day, we still managed to get a candidate for school board to come out and talk with us.
Awesome. All right. Any other CD reports? All right. To the 50th anniversary committee.
All right. As we heard before, we have a date for our 50th anniversary. It's going to be the 19th of October. A member, Brian Dunbar, has volunteered his place up in Gainesville, Virginia. So we're getting organized for that right now with vendors and whatnot. So as soon as we hear back more, we will keep you apprised of that. So that's really all we have to report right now. If you have anybody you'd like to hear speak there, let us know and we can send out greetings and invitations. So
James. All right. Petition drive. We talked about that a lot with Chase already. I'm not going to bore you with numbers some more. But I want to remind everyone, please, please, please get me the updated oath of elector forms that I sent an email to. I got Brian Heiner's and I got Dean Davison's. But I'm pretty sure if we don't turn those in, we will be disqualified from the ballot. So
I also have Robbie's.
okay. So you can either get those to me or you can get them to Jason.
Hey James, I was curious. Is that the 50th anniversary? Is that at his home?
Yes,
I
it is.
believe so.
Oh, just curious.
I believe that is at his home.
I think he said he has like 7 acres. So
And it's good. I'm imagining a summer barbecue is what we're going to be having at the end of the season, followed by a night gala. Hopefully, if the weather cooperates with us at that time of year.
all right, on to the state fair. So in the past presidential years, the state party normally has a table at the state fair to promote our party, promote the candidate. It is, I think, 10 days, Friday through, yeah, that whole week plus the following weekend. It is a lot of manpower hours. Amity did say that she could spend a lot of time there during the week and just kind of work from the fair if needed. But I do need someone to kind of take this on just to organize volunteers to make sure we have all the slots filled when we need it, and to take care of, sending out tickets to volunteers so they don't have to pay to get into the fair. And it also, I believe, is about $1,000 for us to have a table. If this is something that we want to do, we probably need to do it very soon.
When did you say the state fair is? What dates?
Hold on. It is September 27th through October 6th.
Do you need donations for the table itself? Or are you just taking that out of the treasurer?
We would take it out of our bank account.
Didn't Carl volunteer for this?
Last year.
Carl volunteer for this?
Well, he said he would do it last year. I did not hear back from him yet, but
I didn't know if he was still close. I know he moved. I didn't know if he was still in the area, so if he could coordinate.
Yeah, technically he moved to basically just outside of the original CD4 boundary, so he's still in the area. But we'll have to reach out to him and kind of confirm his level of interest and what his schedule looks like for all of that. But right now, let's just kind of put this on everybody's radar, because this is definitely going to be an all hands effort and not just let's lean on Central Virginia because they're 45 minutes away.
everyone can kind of look at your calendars, see if there is a day or two that you could spend at the fair volunteering. It would be good to have at least 2 people each day for the whole day. 3 would be better, but at least 2, so one person can take a break to use the restroom if they need to.
Is it in Doswell?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, and I believe Jason, you already gave your Zoho update. Was there anything else you wanted to say?
Pretty much, if you have any questions on that, please just send those directly over to me. Lawrence, I'm overdue on having looked at the CRM aspect to it, but I have more or less put the website together. So that's something that when you get a chance, I'd like to get your thoughts on at a bare minimum, since again, I'm pretty much a neophyte when it comes to this kind of stuff. But for the CRM, like that's obviously going to have to be a much larger and longer conversation. I think it's going to be kind of up to the SCC whether we want to continue running right now with the current iteration of our website at the LP of VA domain, or go ahead and transition over to this lpva.org domain. Right now, as far as like the membership stuff goes, I just have the links redirecting to the active links with the current domain just pointed at the Civi CRM. So a lot of work still to do on the back end, but do we have a functional website that we could launch? Yes. So I'm going to kind of leave that where it is right now. And as soon as, Lawrence can kind of give the, head nod, like this looks good, and we can get anyone else that wants to look at it is more than welcome to also. Like we're not, gatekeeping the draft version of the website. But yeah, as soon as people are ready, we can kick that out and go live with it.
Okay. I do have some free time Monday after about 1 p.m. I've got surgery Monday morning, so I took Monday off. Also, wearing my state IT hat, I can now safely announce that after over a year, we have a affiliate partners now have a functional AI model for SEO optimization, which I have unlimited access to. If anyone can think of a way to utilize that capacity, please reach out to me. I think that is an incredibly powerful opportunity, especially once we have the website where we want it to be so that we can reach out to people. Does anyone know what SEO optimization is or how to use that?
Yeah, is
Okay.
this something that's coming from nationals, or I'm sorry, when you said state IT director, like I'm kind of confused as to what's footing the bill for that SEO capability.
So this is, for those of you who are not aware, I have my own personal company. We work with a number of partners. One of them is a company called BitTensor, and one of our affiliates is First Tensor, and I'm a 40% shareholder in First Tensor, which has now successfully produced an AI model that does SEO optimization better than Google. We actually are going to be selling SEO optimization services, but I have access to it for free as a partner of the company. So this will be me footing the bill, offering something that I have developed, which I'll be offering to the party free of charge.
You're a rock star, man. Appreciate that.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah. I think what I want to do is roll it out with one of the local groups, then roll it out to state, and then once we've got it fine-tuned, roll it out to national and offer it to them. I think we could also use it probably with the 50th anniversary party. Pretty much anything that we need that we can put online. It's just a way to reach a larger, wider audience with it much faster.
Great. Well, let us know how it goes with the local group and definitely jump on that.
Will do.
All right, so new business. Talked about this a little bit also in terms of doing a fundraising option for Chase Oliver's campaign, as well as I guess we could also do something for the Kennedy campaign if people are interested. I don't want to do all the research on that and try and set something up if you guys are not interested in doing that anyway. If anyone has any opinion of that either way, please let me know.
It sounds interesting, but honestly, I'm tapped out.
I wouldn't necessarily be asking you to donate money directly, Lawrence. Just give an option for people to be able to donate more money to either campaign through our party.
I might recommend reaching out either via Andrew or to Angela directly or somebody on the LNC, maybe Otto, just to see, or Paul, who's around as our alternate, just to see like if National, who set this up for the big campaigns, has gotten any feedback on how it might work. Because I can't imagine we're the only state party that's really in essence a PAC and might have insights as to how that would work. Because I think even like there's even before kind of interest might be that baseline feasibility, and then sort of sandwich that with interest into more detailed feasibility.
Okay. Mr. Bracco, do you have any idea if this would be even possible for us from that standpoint?
So I'm not 100% sure. A lot of this is going to be questions for Dan, and he is unfortunately having fun instead of being here. So I can try to speak to it as best I can. I believe that the LPVA does have a federal account. I don't know the last time it was used. I think it's been a while. So it's maybe. I mean, the limit's definitely not going to be as high because it's a federal PAC, not a federal political party. So it's just, I don't know if it will be as effective, but perhaps it could be possible.
Like theoretically, if someone donates through the other one and taps out all their money, they could be like, oh, well, you could go to Virginia and donate an additional whatever our limit is.
I think the limit is 5,000, I believe. So if it say was the same deal as the LNC, then they donate 5,000 and LPVA federal fund gets 500.
Sounds good to me. Okay. Well, we'll wait to hear back from Dan. And I'll see if Chase's campaign definitely wants to set that up. They had said that was a possibility as well. Still need answers from Dan, I guess. All right. Does anyone else have any other new business? Mr. Bracco?
So just to follow up on that, the value in that sort of setup is somebody has already maxed out their donations to a particular candidate. I don't know that the Oliver Termott campaign is in the same position as the Kennedy campaign because they're the campaign of a political party. I think those limits might be different, and I think that the political party limits are higher, but I might be wrong on that. So they might not be in nearly as dire of straits, because it really provides value once you want to donate more to a candidate, but you have maxed out your donation. Where do you go from there? Somewhere like what the LNC has set up.
From my understanding from campaign meetings I've gone to, they have the same limit for their campaign as well.
Was it $3,800, I think, per person?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. Do you happen to know how many people have done a max donation? Or maybe put it on a public call, but maybe we can connect up offline.
I'm not actually sure, but we can definitely chat offline. That's fine. All right. Any other new business? Okay. I have nothing else to report. Yes, James?
I motion to adjourn.
Committed time.
81 seconds. Second.
All right. Thank you. Anyone opposed? All right. Hearing none, meeting is adjourned at 9:26 p.m.